Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kelly Beard, Content Specialist for Maryland Realtors, and I want to welcome you all to the Importance of Earning Your GRI webinar. Today, we have with us Director of Professional Development, Susan Yachinsky, and our GRI Advisory Chair, Demetria Scott, along with Vice Chair Stephen Parsons. Some housekeeping items before I turn it over. This webinar will be recorded and sent out to all attendees after the conclusion of the webinar. We will also share the slide deck that we will be sharing with you today. And we do encourage your questions and we look forward to answering them. Please post all questions in the Q&A box below at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And then you will also have the opportunity for a live Q&A at the end of the webinar, where you can raise your hand and a moderator or speaker will call on you. And with that, I will turn it over to Susan. Susan, take it away.
Thanks, Kelly. Kelly, as you all know, is our hostess with the mostest. She does all of our webinars for us. We really appreciate all of her support. So thanks for coming today. We're really excited to have you. As Kelly said, I'm Susan, and I'm the Director for Professional Development and Member Engagement here at Maryland Realtors. Under my realm of responsibilities is the Graduate Realtor Institute and the advisory group that supports that effort. And we're very excited to have our chair and vice with us today. Demetria Scott is an accomplished real estate professional with more than 18 years of experience helping individuals make their homeownership and investment dreams a reality. She is founder and team lead of the First Home DMV team of Long & Foster Real Estate. And she heads a team of agents dedicated to assisting first-time home buyers, sellers, and real estate investors. Demetria is a pre-licensing instructor and trainer for Long & Foster's Institute for Real Estate. She's a recipient of Maryland Realtors Shining Star Award and a graduate of the Maryland Realtors Leadership Academy. Presently, she serves as Governor Moore's Baltimore City appointee to the Maryland Real Estate Commission, and she is a member of the Greater Baltimore Board of Directors. We also have joining us the Vice Chair, Steve Parsons. He is a broker with Caldwell Banker Realty and a graduate of the Realtor Institute. He's licensed to practice in 3 states with 4 designations and 7 certifications with NAR, and recently named, congratulations, 2003 Realtor of the Year for the Coastal Association of Realtors. He is a professional with a passion for education. And I'll turn the floor over to Demetria and Steve.
Thanks so much, Susan. We cannot thank you enough for inviting us to speak today and to talk about the amazing GRI designation that NAR has and all the work that you do at Maryland Realtors to bring it to our Maryland agents. So without further ado, I guess we'll jump right in. And if possible, I can't see the slide presentation, but is it up?
Sharing my screen as we speak.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So the Graduate Realtor Institute designation is one of the benchmarks, I think, that a lot of agents want to achieve during the course of the career. Once you start taking the courses, you have a total of 5 years to complete the curriculum. And everyone who has ever taken it has really stressed how important it is to growing your business. If we can go to the next slide, and I'll let Steve talk. I don't want to talk too much, but I'll let Steve talk.
Sure. GRIs, to me, it's one of the designations that sets yourself apart from other realtors. When you take the GRI course, whether you're just starting out or you're an established agent, just starting out, you're going to learn a lot of things that you wouldn't traditionally know, just because when you're freshly licensed, it's stuff to help you know the laws, but it doesn't teach you anything about real estate in general. And for those who are established, it teaches them things that, or reminds them of things that maybe they have forgotten. So no matter where you are in your career, it's a really good designation to have. Yeah, like he says, it's the most comprehensive training in the industry.
So I believe one of the biggest things that was important to me when I was taking the GRI is it helps you take your business from a transaction to transaction business to looking at the whole industry comprehensively and thinking about your business and business planning. When I took it, the GRI one-on-one series, and the information is still covered, was creating a profitable business. And it went over the basics of coming up with a marketing budget, exactly how much should you be spending on marketing, things along those lines, any sort of just breaking your business down and turning it into a profitable business, things that you needed to keep your eye on. The GRI has the power to take you further than anything else that you learned in the real estate licensing class. And it helps you put the real estate industry into perspective and strategically grow your business. I think the next slide. So GRI's designees have pursued a course of study that represents a minimum common body of knowledge for a progressive real estate professional. And Susan, Kelly, Diana, they all work extremely hard to make sure that the program evolves to meet current real estate laws, regulations, as well as market trends and conditions. By far, it's an amazing program. And it teaches you not only how to act with professionalism, but also it's committed and increasing your commitment to serving clients as well as becoming a leader in the industry. It stresses the ethical components, it stresses the professional standards, it stresses becoming an expert about what's coming with respect to financing education, and really being able to anticipate your clients' needs. Steve?
Fully agree. For me, when you first start out, you can take the classes in any order that you like. They offer the 100, 2, 3, and 400 series. You can take them in any order. 1 and 200 are the only ones needed to get the designation. 3 and 400 are to get the broker prep if you want to take your career further. And in the 100 and 200, it really stresses how to treat this like a business, how to treat everybody professionally, courteously, and how to make a profit off of it. Whereas the 3 and 400, even if you decide not to pursue your broker, teaches you all the things that your broker should be responsible for, which was invaluable to me, thinking, is my broker doing everything they're supposed to be? And treating my broker with a lot more respect because I know what they go through now, which was a big thing. It's like, seriously, you have to know all this stuff. There's a reason why we have so many more agents than we do brokers, because once they realize what's involved, they may not want to take over the business. It's a lot more overhead and stress than you may want to take on. But yeah, the 1 and 200, usually when I first started, I figured I would start with the 100, see how it goes. And I was so enamored with the classes and my classmates, I said, how could I make this work to take the entire series? Which is what I did.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Next slide. Let's see. So I think this quote really sums up one of the dynamic and most important reasons why people may want to consider pursuing the GRI. As the real estate market is always changing and a lot of agents know what they know, and they may know it well, but higher level classes open up and expose agents to the things that they don't necessarily know about. It's very easy to get comfortable in real estate, functioning within your specialty, your community. However, it may be necessary for you to know what's coming down the line, what's anticipated, what types of new financing programs are out there, what type of legislative changes may be impacting the day-to-day business that you do. It really does give you a wide-ranging overview of the business as a whole. By teaching you not only, as Steve said, to run your business as a business, but also sales and marketing, how to go about positioning yourself so that everyone understands that you're a leader. And one of the biggest things that people, I think, often forget about the GRI and other designations is agents that have pursued additional education beyond just pre-licensing, they are able to out-earn and almost double what agents without designations are earning. And it's because there are economies of scale that come from taking the time to take the class. And I wanted to pause and see if anyone is out there who's actually received the GRI. We have a GRI advisory committee. We invited loads of them to come. And I just wanted to see if anyone wanted to speak or take a moment to say, are or talk about their participation in GRI and what it brought to them and their career. Uh-oh, don't everyone rush at once. Susan and Kelly, do we have anyone out there?
I don't have anyone raising their hand. And I don't want to call anyone out, but
Oh, goodness. Oh, I can understand that. I can understand that. All right. Well, let's see. Stephen, what did you have anything that you wanted to say?
I mean, pretty much said it already when it comes to managing your business. That's the big thing. And some agents, when they first see any kind of designation, they think it's alphabet soup after their name. What does it do to actually make you stand out? I think it the same way when I go to a doctor. I like the ones with a PhD after their name. It tells me that they've done something to go above and beyond what they've done in their career already. So I know that they're more professional. They know the material a little better. So I am a big, person when it comes to certifications and designations, and GRI is a great one to start out at, or even if you've gotten other certifications to add on to, just because it covers so much information. It's a small commitment, but it's one that probably one that hold the highest standard. No different than I do CRS or ABR, which are also good ones. This is right up there with them.
Yeah. Also, Steve, one of the things that I think people don't realize is once you get the designation, it's really important that you take the time to fill out your online profile for each of the designations. A lot of times when I'm looking for someone to refer business to in another area, a place that I don't serve, one of the first things I do is I seek out a designation website like GRI or CRB. And that website is what I use as a springboard to start finding professionals. And I usually find that there are only a handful. It's not as if they're 20 or 30 that I need to sort out. It's just a handful. And when you're competing, a lot of times agents only call one person, they might call two people. But beyond that, it's a warm lead that you have a high propensity of closing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next slide. So, Steve, I'm going to talk about market knowledge and systems and tools, but if you want to talk about business skills and avoiding setbacks. So GRI course topics cover a wide variety of areas. Market knowledge, business skills, systems and tools, and avoiding setbacks. Considerations for housing types, developing CMAs, the impact of the MLS. One of the most helpful seminars that I went to and that I still rely upon even today in my business is that one of the sessions is led by an appraiser. And if you've ever wondered what goes into an appraisal, what appraisers are thinking about, why is house number 1 a possibility is being used as a comp as opposed to house number 3, it's extremely helpful. I still rely on that information. And when I'm pulling comps, I want to make sure that there's an approximate size, that I'm getting the same square footages, that I'm taking into account conditions, and then also that I'm taking into account, features that one property has and the other properties do not. If you're thinking about becoming a BPO specialist or enhancing your career by becoming a specialist in REO properties, the session really does help to serve as a springboard to getting you ready to begin the types of research and the type of analysis that lenders are expecting.
Awesome. For business skills, they teach prospecting, buyer and seller services, creating a niche market, negotiating, creating, and implementing your brand. Like I said, we start this off as a business. So how do you market you? How do you set yourself apart from other agents? How do you get yourself out there? And how to run your day-to-day like you would a business, time blocking, things of that nature. A lot of brokers and mentors will tell you what you need to do, and people are like, great, but I don't see how it works. This program teaches you how it works.
Very true. Systems and tools. I once had an assistant in real estate. She used to work at a title company. And she told me that, throughout the transaction, they kind of all would talk to the agents on the phone, and they have a pretty good idea of what kind of handle they had on them. But a lot of them weren't good at the records. And people, they said, would come in and they'd have like files and papers were everywhere. And they would kind of take bets on who was going to come in, who was organized and disorganized. So record retention is an important factor in the business, and not just records from the perspective of maintaining what you need about past transactions for 5 years, but also from the perspective of if you want to turn this person into a client for life, it's really necessary that you have the appropriate retention systems to do so, so that you can keep track of not only where your transaction stands, but the potential transactions that this person might want to engage in the future. Do they want to find an investment property? Do they want to have a second home in Ocean City? All of those things are critical to really maximizing the assistance that you're able to provide to the clients. In addition, a lot of tips and tools as far as CRM management, managing your contacts, staying up front and in front of your clients and your personnel, very critical in this business. And I think a lot of agents drop the ball. Steve, how many people do you know say that their agent sold them a property and they never heard from them again?
Quite a few. I get that a lot from people saying that somebody will tell me in my office, I see a property that I sold 3 or 4 years ago is up there, and don't know why people never called me. And I was like, when was the last time you talked to them? Oh, a settlement. You never talked to them since 4 years, 5 years. You never talked to your people. Well, no wonder they didn't call you. They forgot you. It's important to keep up with the people and how you do so. There are systems and tools that we have and that are out there in place that you can keep, catching those people so that they remember you and remember, how great you were when you sold them the property, so that when it does come time to list again, they call you.
Definitely. All right.
Avoiding setbacks, fines, lawsuits, professional standards, contract to close, risk management, agency relationships, and advertising. It's a big thing out there. Here we are in front of our clients putting out contracts, yet we can't interpret the law for them. What can we do in order to keep ourselves and our clients from ever getting sued? The word that we all don't like to hear. And what can we do to avoid, things like that? How do we work with other agents and how to keep professional at it? And advertising. I see it quite a bit. People get lax with it. And when it comes to advertising, they may forget something simple as, if they have their phone number, but they don't have the brokerage's phone number on it. Stuff we can seriously get in trouble for. How do we minimize that risk? Which is what I tell everybody. If you're advertising in any way, shape, or form, make sure to run it by your broker first. So that they make sure it's okay. But this program reminds us of all the stuff that we should already know when it comes to that, so that we can keep ourselves out of the courtroom.
Amazing. Excellent. Really excellent. I'm going to pause. Are there any questions? Oh, there's somebody got a question. Hold on. Let me see if I can see it. Where do you go to register your designation? So once you've received your GRI designation, there are a number of resources on the NAR website. So the way that I always find it is you Google NAR and you Google GRI. And when you come to the initial page, one of the things that they have, or one of the things that they say, is they have a basic description of the GRI. And as you scroll down the page, they have a list of marketing resources that you have. And also you can catalog and make sure that your GRI designation is showing as a part of your NAR profile. Steve, how do you just, because you have seven certifications, and I saw them at the bottom of your email, and I was like, I'm really going to have to ask him about this, like second property designation and investment property. But how do you do? What's the best way that you notify people of your designations?
Well, depends on the type of person. If I'm dealing with a buyer or a seller, if I'm dealing with a seller, it's part of my marketing with a CMA. I do have my alphabet soup, but every certification, every designation does provide you with some form of print advertising. I do the same thing. I print out those flyers, and depending on the situation that I'm in, is the ones that I push, because I have so many. It would be a small book I would hand them. But GRI is one of the top ones on the list. I don't push ABR when I'm dealing with a seller. No different than I push SRS when I'm dealing with a buyer. But GRI is always at the top of my list along with CRS, because to me, they are the highest standards that are out there. It's also in my email signature. It's on not just my email signature for email, but for my phone signature. It's on my social media. Everywhere you see my name, you're going to see that I was a GRI graduate as part of what I do. It's part of my brand. So I make it a part of me. That's how I get it out there.
All right. Thanks so much for the question, Karen. I really appreciate it. All right. So one question, let's see. Oh, someone asked, are we getting copies of the presentation? So yes, it'll definitely be a part of the materials that you receive, and you'll get them by email. Why don't we go to the next slide? All right, so I'm sure you all are wondering, after Steve and I have gone on and on, how do you go about getting your GRI designation? So the next set of classes for GRI is starting during the month of February, the next 2 classes. So the GRI consists of 100 and 200 series of classes, and there are a total of 12 classes, totaling 72 hours of class time. And then each GRI series is offered twice a year through Maryland Realtors. Each module is 6 hours. They're going to meet and starting in February virtually. So this is not going to be a hybrid class or an in-person class. So if you're in Deep Creek, you don't have to worry about how you're going to get to Annapolis. It's going to be online virtually via Zoom, just like today. And the classes run from 8:30 a.m. to 3:45 p.m. And each module is different, and the modules cover various continuing education credit hours. Okay. And let's see the next slide. For those of you who are interested, you can also take advanced GRI classes, which would be the 300 and 400 series. And for those of you who are thinking of pursuing a broker's license, the 300 and 400 series covers credits, and the total combined credits for all 4 of the series are enough for you to complete the broker pre-licensing requirement for the state of Maryland. Candidates who complete the last of those sessions, and have been licensed for 3 years in the state of Maryland, may proceed with taking the broker licensing test offered by PSI for the purpose of getting either a broker's license or an associate broker's license. And then within a year of passing that exam, you can move forward with actually applying for your license, or must move forward. If you miss either deadline, either the 1 year to pass the exam or the 1 year to apply for your license, then you would have to retake the coursework again. And I see there's a second question out there. Are the classes only offered through Maryland Realtors? I'm going to let Susan answer that question. We offer the classes 2 sessions. And Susan?
Yes, so they are only offered through Maryland Realtors. I understand that they used to be given by the local boards, but it's just Maryland Realtors, the state association, that runs the GRI courses for the state now.
Any other questions? Okay. All right. So let's talk about what the basic coursework is for each. So on February 6th, that's going to be the first of the GRI sessions for Module 101. And like we said, there are 6 sessions. Module 1 is on building a real estate business. Module 102 is on prospecting and listing techniques. Module 103 has been split into 2 parts. So it's going to be fair housing and cultural issues. And I believe there's credit offered for that class. And the next one is going to be Maryland ethics and professionalism, flipping and fraud. And that class is also offered for continuing education credit. Module 104 is basic financing. 105 is sales and marketing. And then 106 is Maryland brokerage relationships and disclosures, which is offered for credit. And then 106B is contract law and antitrust, which I think is a very important topic in today's industry. Steve, I'm going to pause and see if you have anything to say.
No, the classes here, I mean, you're getting 2 of your required classes for your renewal. At least I believe. Actually, it might be 3 there. It's fair housing, brokerage relationships. That's what HC and D, I believe, or HA and D. So if you're looking to renew your license, part of that's already included in here, so you'd only have to take a few more classes just to renew within your 2-year period. But Series 100, when I first took it, when I first took the GRI, I was actually already 5 years into real estate. It reminded me of so much that I had forgotten, which was invaluable to me. I was like, this is really, really great, because stuff that it's reminding me of, and I wish I took it sooner. So when I was taking the classes, I think probably 101 was my favorite, or 100 series was my favorite of all the series that I took, because it really got me excited about GRI, and after that, I decided to take the rest. So.
Okay.
Demetria, we have a hand raised.
Oh, sure. I don't see.
Eric Stewart.
Oh, now I see it. Hi, Eric. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay, just did. Thanks. So I have a broker's license, and I also posted this in the Q&A too. But am I exempt from taking the 100 series by that, or have to start from the beginning? How's that work?
So Susan, I'm going to refer that question to Susan because she's the expert on the ins and
No,
outs.
it doesn't exempt you. You have to take it. And yes, it will. As Steve was saying, you know, it is things, it does contain things that you've already learned, but it is a requirement, an NAR requirement, that you take all of the 100, 200 series, no exemptions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
100 and 200 gives you the designation. You can start using the designation after completing 100 and 200. 3 and 4 is for broker prep. So if you're already a broker and do not have the designation, you don't have to take the 3 and 400 unless you really want to. But 100 and 200 will be required.
So I have a question from Yolanda in the chat box. She took the GRI 200 a couple of years ago, and she wants to know, does it still count? Yes, it does. You have up to 5 years to finish all the classes in the GRI track. So if you took it a couple of years ago, you can just pick it up. And a lot of people take 5 years, I will say. Like when I was doing the research for the speaking engagement today, a number of people said that they took maybe one course, and then like 3 years later, they took another course. And they took kind of like a long road to get there, but they found all of the courses to be interesting. And just to give an example, there are things in my business that I still use from the GRI class. So my GRI 102 instructor was Bob Kimball. I believe he was the GRI advisory chair the year that I took it. And one of the first things that he said is that he actually takes time off. So many of us are in this business and we never take time off. There's never time where we're not available. And that was one of the things I liked about what he said. And he said that Friday was his day off in the business. And Friday has been my day off in the business probably for the number of years, probably since I heard him say that. I decided to start taking Friday off. So I'm not in the office on Friday, even though it's the beginning of the home buyer weekend, the home buyer search, because it's my opportunity to take a moment for myself, especially if I'm going to be working on half day Saturday or all day Sunday, or need to make myself available for appointments, etc. And he says that he explains that to his clients during the consultation. So he makes it clear to them what his availability is and what to expect. All right. Steve, anything from you?
No, that's a good one. Setting expectations is very important. I also find that if you take time off, that's when I get busiest.
That is true.
So it's always good if you feel like you're slowing down, take the time off. You will get busy.
The moment I say that I'm about to head out of town for a trip or a vacation or a business travel or something, that's when like all these people come out of the woodwork.
Absolutely.
Let's see if I've answered. I'm not sure if I've answered everybody's question in chat box. I think maybe they've all been answered. Okay. Guys, any other questions? Anyone want to ask a question live? Okay. What's on the next slide for session 200? So the modules for session 200 talk about, they start on February 29th. So that is going to be the date for the second session of GRI. And I'm sorry, Susan.
And I didn't update 200. I am so sorry. So, okay. So my apologies. This will be fixed when it comes out to y'all. But 200 is pricing, property, legal and legislative updates, environmental issues, communications and personal assistance, NAR ethics and arbitration and mediation, condominiums, cooperatives and broker buying, and technology and trends.
Amazing. So does Mary Chippa still teach the class on environmental issues?
Yes, she does.
So she taught my class on environmental issues. And I remember one of the standout things that she said is she showed these pictures of this horrible house that looked like it had something on the walls. And she talked a lot about the risk management component of the class, that you see that there's visibly mold in the house. Visibly, it's all over the walls and climbing up the drywall. You don't need to say that to your client. That was one of the things that she mentioned. You don't need to actually say, your client can see that. It's not the things that your client can see that you need to stress. It's your value to them is in the things that they may not be able to see, and recommending to them that they seek out the services of a professional to actually see those things or to isolate those things, and also to stay within our lane. That's a tremendous risk management technique, is that we as real estate licensees, we often are pushed by clients in the position to speak about matters that are outside of our purview. And you shouldn't be afraid to tell them that they need to seek the services of someone. You should have a cadre of people that you can refer them to. And I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of new agents feel the most pressure. They feel like they have to be everything to all of their clients, and it's not really necessary. And there's some great tips and tools for dealing with that. I have someone with a question. How soon can we sign up for the class? So sign up for the classes can start next week. So there'll be a link on the Maryland Realtors website, and you can sign up for both the 100 and the 200 series starting next week. And I believe the approximate pricing for the 100, 200 series is $540. Is that correct, Susan? And you can take all of the classes and the modules for that price. And then if you're interested in taking the 300 and 400 series, the dates of which have not been determined or announced, if you're interested in taking those series, I believe the price is $360 for those sessions. Is that correct, Susan?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? That's a great question, Samuel. Samuel just wrote, are you able to take the 200 series classes before completing all of your 100 series classes? The great thing about the GRI is that you can take the classes in any order. You do not have to complete all of the 100 series and then all of the 200 series. If you're not available or if you have some sort of conflict, one of the great things is that you have the 5 years to be able to take the classes.
Would you like to go to 300?
Sure. So the 300 series is a higher level series of classes that goes over more of the ins and outs of broker topics and topics that relate to supervision in the industry. And also the 300 series is what can really get you thinking about what you want to specialize in as far as your career in real estate. Do you want to work with people that are dealing with investment properties? Do you want to develop an expertise in 1031 exchanges or tax sales and things along those lines that people really have a need for? There are not a lot of people in our industry that know a lot about 1031 exchanges. There are loads of people that want to take advantage of this market. They want to sell their existing investment property and move up to something different. And they really have difficulty finding agents that know the rules, the ins and outs, their limitations. And also, one of the things that's most attractive that I learned is that these are pretty much almost guaranteed sales. Once they sell the property, they have to purchase a new one, and they have to identify a new one within a short period of time. Otherwise, they face the possibility of paying taxes. New construction is a specialty in real estate. A lot of buyers go out to the construction site. They're enamored by the model. They think it's amazing. And then they realize that, and the builder is quick to say, you don't need an agent. You don't really need an agent. And then when it's all said and done, they end up needing an agent or wishing that they'd had an agent and wishing that they had someone independent come in to help them with the inspections, and an agent could have assisted with that. Steve, I'm going to pause and let you talk for a while. I'm going on and on.
I deal a lot with new home construction. Yeah, builder doesn't want you to hire an inspector. It's why is it needed? We're going to have a certificate of occupancy at the end of it, so it's going to be checked out. I like to look at inspections like a punch list, to find out what's wrong, what did they do, what did they miss, things of that nature. That's a very big one. How to talk to builders, how to deal with builders, even with custom homes. You have people that don't realize that floor plans actually cost money, and every time they want to make a change, that costs additional money because you have to have an architect redraw plans. Most your builders can reverse a house at no charge because they just flip the floor plan over. But if you want to add 2 feet to a wall, there's materials and other things that are added to that. And if it's 2-story, that cost doubles. Things of that nature. This class helps you go through what to expect when you're getting yourselves in a situation. Same thing with tax exchanges, as Demetria said, identifying properties, knowing that you have to have an attorney involved when it comes to that kind of stuff. And you got to find one that specializes in those kind of things. Usually I get one that works with an accountant so they can help out each other together to go through all this, because really that's something when it comes to taxes, we really need to stay in our lane with and let those type of people handle it. How to manage an office. Because now, as if you're going to be a broker, everything that happens in an office is now your problem. It's not just you, it's everybody. Everything that somebody does in the office is, falls back on who's in charge. Which is why a lot of people, after getting the broker's license, says, you know what, I think I'll be an associate broker instead. Commercial property, sometimes people touch on that when they're dealing with residential sales, but unless you deal with commercial on day-to-day, it's a very hard topic to cross, because it's not just dealing with a property somebody's going to live in. It's profit, potential profit, and types of leases that you have associated with the properties. There's 5 or 6 different types of leases when it comes to commercial property. What is your client going to have to pay when they get in there? Is it just based off of a flat fee, or are they going to have to give up some of their profits in order to do so? Things of that nature. And 304, I laugh at the appraisal and land use. I remember when I had to take the class myself, I was dreading it, because I was like, land use, that is going to be the most boring class in the world, and it was my absolute favorite.
Oh my goodness. Why? Why was it your favorite?
Well, because the guy our instructor that we had at the time that talked about land use, I'm thinking, great. Land is so boring. It's by itself. There's nothing on it. But the stuff that he went over as far as developing and how long a process can take when you're dealing with somebody who wants to put like a mall over, 20 or 30 acres of land. It really opened my eyes to things that I wasn't even thinking about with residential sales. Which is why I loved it so much. It was something I didn't know.
Oh man.
Yeah, of
And
course, with the appraisal.
FYI, Steve,
What's
he's
that?
still teaching it. He's still teaching.
Thank
Steve
God.
Ferrandi.
He's awesome.
So if anybody's out there interested, we still have the same great instructor.
Yeah, and with appraisal, we all cringe when it comes to appraisals, but at least I got to see it from an appraiser's point of view. Because usually I look at him as the enemy when I deal in any transaction, unless he gives me value. But at least I'm seeing it from their point of view and understanding where they're coming from. I absolutely love 304. Is probably my favorite class from the 300 and 400 series. Just because of how much I learned.
Right. A couple of things. So we got a couple questions. What is networking like with other GRIs? So I guess I'll answer first, and then I'll let Steve say what his experience is. So I find that GRIs are especially nice, amongst the nicest people that you're gonna meet, because there's kind of a like-minded commitment to professionalism. So everyone is really interested in doing a great job, and also just performing well and bettering themselves so they can better serve the client and give the client a better experience. And then the second thing is also they're incredibly easy to work with as far as referrals. If you have a referral to send to a GRI, be it another Maryland GRI person who's specializing in an area that's not one that you geographically know or anything like that, they're always incredibly gracious. They keep you updated on the progress as far as your client and how their client is doing and what their experience is like. Steve, what about you?
Yeah. When it comes to me, if I'm looking for an agent outside the area, I always look at certifications and designations. For me, I want my client to be handled with the same respect that I would give them. So if I know if I sat through these classes and went through it and somebody else did the same thing and actually completed it, they're working as hard as I am, which is a big thing with me. I always look at GRI, CRS, ABR, those things whenever it comes to referring out, just because I know that they'll put in the effort, so which is
Definitely
really what I'm after.
Vivian asked, can anyone take the courses regardless of experience? The answer to that is yes. And we just had a huge conversation about this in the GRI advisory group in our last meeting. So a lot of us took GRI after we've been in the business for a number of years. However, if you really want to grow your business and grow it rapidly, I would say you should take it early on. I think you might want to take the 100 and 200 series maybe immediately after finishing the pre-licensing class. A lot of people, I remember my first designation that I pursued was the accredited buyer rep. And I probably did that when I was 1 or 2 years in, after I was very close to meeting the mark as far as the number of transactions that were needed. But I believe if I had taken the GRI 100 and 200 series, I think that would have just pushed me further faster as far as my career. One of the things that Stu Stern taught my business plan, my 101 class, and one of the things that he laid out in the class was really what are your targets, or what your targets should be as far as your expenditures with the income that you have coming in, and how to juggle not just being able to run your business and also have money, like not enough, what is the word? So that you don't have more month than you have money. And then save for retirement, and also plan for the fun things like vacations and whatever else. So all of that is included or contained within the GRI 100 series. And I think a lot of new agents, especially if you're working part-time and you want to become a full-time agent, that's really what you need to take you from A to B.
I wish I took it sooner. When I took it, I was also, like I said, 5 years in the business already. I wish I took it as soon as I got my license, just because of the information that was in there, would have really springboarded me ahead a lot faster. So yeah.
Yeah, and also I have to say, I think the biggest confusion that people have when they first come into real estate is the real estate class is all about, number one, how to help you pass the exam, and number two, how to keep you out of real estate jail. But it teaches you nothing about how to run a real estate business, how to be successful financially in the business, how to set up and structure your business so that you are minimizing risk and maximizing all of the tools that your broker has and that you have at your disposal through NAR and other locations. So it really is a very good course for you to take as soon as you become licensed. And Karen asked, can you take any of the 300 or 400 series classes even though you have a GRI? That is correct. I think as long as you register for the classes, you're free to take them. And a lot of people say that they receive a lot of benefit from them. To be honest, everything that is up on Susan's slide as far as the 300 and 400 series, all of those are specializations within real estate. They're areas that you can take your career to and really stand above all of the other agents, because there are a lot of people that need a land specialist, and they're very few. I went out to the land site a few months ago, and there are hardly any, really. There may be like 1 or 2 that are registered per state that have received the full designation and have actually filled out their profiles online. I mean, there may be countless other people who actually have the designation, but if you're looking for someone to refer business to, your first stop is going to be the ALC website for NAR to see who's registered and who has the full certification in your area. Great questions, guys. I gotta say, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, a lot of people are wondering the same things that you're asking. Guys, are there any additional questions? Is there anyone, some of the people on the GRI advisory group actually said that they were in the 400 series class that's being offered today. So I'm hoping that's where they all are. But is anyone on the call who's actually received their GRI and just want to speak to it as far as how it helped their career? Still maybe no one, Steve, just you and me. Just you and me.
We have a quiet group here, so they must.
Gosh. Are there any other questions from the group about the designation?
Demetria, if I may,
Sure.
just one question from earlier for Karen. Where do you register the designation? Yes, you should put it where all of those things are. But when you complete GRI, when you complete 100, 200, and you earn the GRI designation, we are required to upload that information to NAR. And so it shows up on your NAR profile there through that way. And then it is also uploaded into Ramco so that they talk to each other. So if you did achieve it and you aren't on the list, when you go to the NAR, you can give me a call and I'll track it down for you.
Okay. Oh, Samuel wanted to know how many realtors have the GRI designation. It's really only about 15% of all the realtors.
All right.
Okay. So I want to ask Jill, how many of you are considering pursuing the GRI designation? And it doesn't have to be in February, but during the course of your career as an agent. I don't know, is there a way to poll them and do a show of hands?
They are welcome to raise their hand
Or in the chat box to let us know. How
or
many
in
of
the
you are
chat
thinking
box.
about it?
It's a quiet group today. Somebody raised their hand. There we go, two.
Okay, Deborah's thinking about it. Michelle Farmer. And are any of you in the process? I know that we have a couple of people who started taking it. But are any of you, how many of you are in the process of getting your GRI designation? Okay, we got a few people. Do you take continuing education classes to keep it up? No, that was one of the biggest things about that a lot of people like about GRI is that once you achieve the designation, you do not have to take additional classes, and you also do not have to pay additional fees. For some of the other designations that I have, like CRB, I have to pay an annual fee. And I have to take continuing education, which the classes are really great. So that's not, but there's an annual fee that goes with a number of the designations. Same thing for my CRB designation as well.
GRI doesn't have those, so it's pretty cool.
Uh-oh, Samuel says he thinks his chat is disabled.
It's we're using the Q&A feature.
Oh, using the Q. Okay.
Yeah, but I did just I just made it live for everyone.
Okay. All right. Guys, any other questions? One of the things that someone asked me about GRI and some of the other is whether or not you have to take a test. Are you tested each time that you actually go in? And are you tested on a regular basis in the class? So the answer to that is no. So you do not have to take an online test at the conclusion of each day's session. Once you get to the end of the 20 classes, you are free to move forward with the next steps, be it if you are going to just take the 100, 200 series and do the 72 hours designation, or if you want to take the increased numbers of hours to actually leverage the class as a springboard to get your broker license or your associate broker's license. Other questions? All right. Susan,
Well,
do you have questions for me and Steve?
I
We have some
put
hands.
me on the spot. We do.
Oh, there's some hands. Okay.
I have Stacy. I will turn you on.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi. I just have a question. I just want to clarify the courses on February 6th and 29th. Like the February 6th is the 100 series. So that's all of those courses in that one day?
No. So you're going to have
Okay.
6 classes, and then the dates for the classes, if you want to jot them down, I have them. So
Okay.
it's the 6th, the 8th, the 13th, the 15th, the 20th, and the 22nd. So that's the 6th, the 8th, the 13th, the 15th, the 20th, and the 22nd. And those are all Tuesdays and Thursdays, by the way. So they start at
Okay.
8:30 and you're done at 3:45.
Okay.
And then
Alright,
for
thanks.
the 200 series, that series starts immediately right after that. So the next class is Thursday, the 29th of February. And then the other
Okay.
classes are March 7, 12, 13, which is the only Wednesday class, 14, and 19. So that's February
Okay.
29th, March 7, March 12, March 13, March 14, and March 19.
Okay, so that kind of explains why it could take you 5 years. Because I'm thinking, oh wow, why is it
You
taking
know,
5 years? It's
okay,
only 2
so
days, but I get it
I
now.
I will say, when I first made the commitment, because I took all my classes in 1 year. So when I first made the commitment, I was like, oh, this is going to be like a lot, all these Tuesdays and I think it was Tuesdays and Wednesdays when I took. So I was like, all these Tuesdays, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make them all, but you're able to make it happen. And I had done Leadership Academy before this. And I was like, I made Leadership Academy happen. I can make this happen. So once you start, it's a little bit addictive too. I have to say the courses are really good. And the notes that I've provided and the things that I've said about the instructors, I still have my notes from GRI and I took it in 2016.
Oh, okay.
So the information
perfect.
is very helpful. Stu was great. Stu said he sets aside $500 from every transaction he has and puts it in a vacation fund for like an exotic trip for him and his wife. I still have that.
A really good idea.
Isn't it? Isn't it? It's a really great program. And you will not regret the commitment of time that you made.
All right. Thank you so much.
They do take regular breaks throughout the day too, so don't think your business is on pause just for the time you're in the class. You do have regular breaks where you can make your phone calls and keep up with things. To me, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. For time wise, I'm thinking, oh great, I'm gonna have to take at least 2 days off in the week and then play catch up at the end of the day. They take regular breaks throughout the day, and plus you do have lunch, so there is time to play catch up. No different than doing CE, but to me, it was I moved very, very quickly just because I was having so much fun in the class. I didn't want it to end, and when we took a break, I was like, okay, I'll catch up and then come back to it. And it went fairly quick. I mean, 3:45 got there before I knew it.
Okay, perfect.
Tiffany Bullock asked if the classes are virtual or in person. So the entire series is going to be virtual for the 100, the 200, the 300, the 400 series, both times that each of them is offered this year. So everything is going to be virtual. The feedback that we got from a lot of the students was that they really appreciated virtual. People who, I don't know, maybe you live in Deep Creek and you have children that you need to pick up from school. It's impossible for you to get back from Annapolis to Deep Creek in the blink of an eye. So a number of people requested and we listened, and the classes are going to be virtual. Any other questions? Susan, I think maybe one question that people might, what if you miss a class? How does it work if they miss a class?
If you miss a class in the series, again, we offer it twice a year, so you can just go back and pick it up. One of the things that you can do on the payment side is you can pay for the classes individually. So you pay for 101 and 102 separately, or you can pay for the whole series at one time. If you miss one of those classes, we mark it and we allow you to register the next time it's offered. At no additional cost. I'm sorry, I should have said that. So,
guys, you've been a great group. I can't believe that we had 15 questions and then we've had a bunch of comments. But if no one else has any comments, I guess we're coming to the end of today's session. Steve, do you have any thoughts or anything that you wanted to ask or offer the group before? Any parting thoughts that you wanted to offer the group?
The big thing is, I mean, I think I've already said it. I don't think I would be where I am today if it wasn't for this class. I started 5 years into it, and my business has springboarded significantly since taking GRI. I think it's probably the most important designation that I have.
All right. Susan, do you have any questions for us before we go?
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say, if there are any additional questions, just go to marylandrealtor.org. We are under the professional development tab, and GRI certification is right there. And that's how you register as well. So we'll set that out along with the
Leon Gilbert has one question. He wanted to know, are the classes ever offered on other days other than Tuesday and Thursday? Not to my knowledge. However, you do have up to 5 years to take the classes, and in years to come, they may be offered on other days. Oh, thank you so much, Hattie. Hattie said this is a really informative class, lots to think about. And thanks for all the info. Thanks so much, Hattie. We really appreciate that.
We do have a hand raised from Rochelle Mitchell.
Oh.
Rochelle, I'm going to allow you to chat.
Hi, Ms. Mitchell. go ahead and ask your question. You're muted still.
Maybe.
Hi.
Hi.
You said that it was the best class, and my question is, why are they the best class since you've been in business? Just wondering.
Why are the GRI classes the best classes?
Right. Isn't that what the gentleman just shared?
Yeah, I'll let Steve go and then I'll
You just
answer.
said. Right.
Like I said, my favorite class was land use just because it taught me so much that I didn't know. I mean, I've dealt with new construction before and I know about, size of a lot and permeability and things of that nature, but I didn't think of it from a developing standpoint. Do I want to create whole communities? Do I want to create shopping malls? Things of that nature. To me, that was something that I never really considered. And after taking GRI, I do a little bit of that now. I work with people who are looking to make communities. Since I dealt with new construction beforehand, it was something that springboarded me forward. That was why it was, to me, one of the most important classes, because it was a different avenue that I wasn't even thinking about with real estate. I was just thinking about residential sales before. Now I'm thinking more on the developing side. So now instead of selling 1, 2 houses, I can sell a whole community of houses.
Awesome. Right. Exactly. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. See, it gives it
Absolutely.
a different perspective when you
Right.
share it, the details.
Yeah. For me, I think that the biggest thing is that there were so many options out there. There's so many things that are vying for your attention as a real estate professional. And I needed some sort of blueprint myself to figure out exactly what I wanted to do without stretching my resources too thin. And I think one of the biggest things was I did a session on sales and marketing with Mary Chippa. And one of the greatest things she said is that your business is like, you should have 4 spinning plates at all times. And those 4 spinning plates that you have, those are what are going to be the things that generate your business. And everybody's spinning plates are not the same. You might be great at talking to people that are FSBOs and expireds. Guys, I'm never going to be great at talking to FSBOs and expireds, but that works for people. So some people do that. Sphere of influence, everyone should be working their sphere of influence. But it introduced the concept of niche marketing. I knew that I liked working with buyers, and I knew that I liked working with a lot of first-time home buyers, and that became my niche. And I felt like I needed someone to provide expertise to tell me that that was okay, that I could start this business and this team that focuses on people that are in their first real estate transaction. First-time home buyers are about 25 to 35% of the market every single year. So it's a significant specialization in real estate. And then there are other specializations that aren't as large, but are just as lucrative. We talked about land, but commercial is another specialization. I do a lot of short sales when short sales are big, and I've probably done one or two almost every year, even when they weren't big. And there are a lot of people that don't have that expertise, that specialization, that background. So I think that it lets you know what your strengths are. And a lot of times the answers to your most pressing business questions are simpler than you think. So I hope that helps. Any other questions or comments? Guys, y'all have been an incredible group. Oh, thank you so much. Awesome presenters and presentations. So thanks so much, everyone. And you can always reach out to me or to Susan. I just started my term as GRI advisory chair, and Steve just started his term as vice chair. So we'll be here for another 10 or 11 months. So thanks so much, guys, and y'all have a great day.
And to wrap it up, thank you, Demetria. Thank you, Stephen and Susan. Their emails will also be provided when I send out the registration link, along with the slides and the video recording to everybody who registered today. And I will also send the link to the actual Maryland Realtors GRI page. Our next webinar is our session preview happening on December 7th from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. It's also a Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. We usually host all of our webinars on Thursdays, typically around this 1 o'clock time. So stay tuned and keep up to date with our webinar series. Thank you all.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much.
Demetria. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.